Hey guys, welcome back, and today we're going to talk about the light bulb in the Crossfire. Also in other Mercedes models as well, and many other vehicles as well, because they all seem to have this little grooved notch at the bottom. So if you take a look at it head on, you can see it's not perfect. It's not perfectly cut round. Right here at the bottom, it's cut, and then they leave this little tail at the bottom, and on that tail, there's a tiny little groove. You can see right in there, okay, little lip that fits in a very, very specific way within the headlight assembly itself. So, on the Crossfire, I'll tell you right now, when you're changing the headlight, your normal headlight, not the high beam, but the normal headlight, this little notch, okay, goes at the bottom, points towards the bottom of the vehicle. When you're changing it to the high beam, the notch will be facing upwards. Remember that. High beam up, low beam, it'll be pointing down. What I mean by that is within the headlight unit, ooh, that was close. Within the headlight unit assembly itself, this is the burnt one, so I can touch it and don't worry about it. Within the headlight assembly itself, there is a cutout. So instead of being a perfectly round cutout that this would just fit right into, okay, there's a notch within the assembly itself to fit this portion so that when it goes in, okay, it will fit in and it will snug right inside of it. Okay, so I'm going to show you that. And I'm also going to show you a little tip on how to get in there and make your life a little easier for you. Okay, so one thing I want to mention with these headlights, okay, these types of headlights, don't touch the glass. Okay, don't do this. The reason is that oils from your fingertips, dirt, debris, whatever, will cause these headlights to burn out prematurely. So don't do that. If you're going to do these, what you can do is put a little piece of cloth, a clean cloth around it if you're worried about it. But I always use them from the tail end assembly right where the two connectors come. So you shouldn't have a problem with that. But anyways, the big reason for this video is that too many people come on to the forums and such, and they say, hey guys, how do I adjust the headlights? All of a sudden, I just installed a brand new light bulb to replace the burnt one, and now it's pointing towards the ground. Well, if you think about it, you shouldn't have to change or adjust the headlight assembly at all. If it was working fine before with the same type of light bulb, it's going to work the same way now with the same exact new light bulb that's not burnt out. So you have to install it properly. If not, I'll tell you right now, if you install this tail up on the low beam anywhere else than in the slot that it needs to be, this light will be pointing downwards. Okay, there's the problem right there. And it's the same thing with the high beam. If you point it up, if you install it improperly, because the high beam, remember, the high point, the high tail goes up. Okay. So if you don't do that, what's going to happen is now your high beam is going to be pointing right at the sky. So let's go take a look in the car, and I'll show you what we can do to make things a little easier to install these things. So let's start on the driver's side. Right here, as you can see, that's the one I need to get to. There's the bulb I need to get to. And as you can see, there's not a lot of room in here to get your hands into. So what I like to do is very simply remove your secondary air pump. It's being held down with three nuts. So there's one here, one there, and the other one is located right there. Okay? Number 10 in metric size. Simply, there's also a wire, the connecting wire, and it's just a pinch. So you pinch the two ends together. In other words, see this? When I squeeze them apart, they open up. That takes it off. There's also going to be your hose. This is an air pump, so it's only moving it's only blowing air. So there's the hose right there. Now you can take this off. Okay, out of the way. And now I'll show you where the hose is. Okay, there it is right there. There's no liquids in them. The other thing too is to remove the connector for the radiator fan. And this connector, same thing. You pinch it and it spreads open. Okay, so having done that, now we go take a look over here, and you have a lot of room to move and to maneuver. So what we'll do, just for the purpose of the video, so I can get the camera in there, is I'm going to take off and we'll do this one here instead. So took the cap off, and inside you'll see, as soon as I can get it in focus, there's the plug with the wires. You can see a clip there that's holding everything together, and we'll get that done in 1 second. I'll reposition myself. Okay, so here we are back at the headlight unit assembly. So the one on the left, when we're talking about the driver's side, the one on the left, that's your low beam. Low beam, remember, the tab for the light bulb goes on the low side, so it points to the ground. This is your high beam. Okay, the high beam one, the tab or the tail will be pointing up on the high side for your high beams. What I do now is I just get inside here and I just clip right here. Just pull out this here. There's not a lot of room in there, especially if you got big hands, and it gets a little tricky, but that's there. Now I'm gonna get you inside of here as best as I can. Sorry for the shaky and the fingers in the way. Okay, but now what we're going to talk about is this retaining clip. Okay, it's a spring, it's right there, and this guy here, you have to press it and push away, and it can be a little tricky. Okay, and that's where I just had it there, but that's where you can use that tool, and all you got to do is come in. Well, right now it's off, okay, but all you would do is put it on to that clip and then push it outwards. Okay, so I've already got this one undone, so just bring this down. Do not lose these things. What you may want to do is tie a little rope before you even attempt to take this off, and tie it to this thing, because if it falls, it's a pain in the butt to get back at. Okay, now we're just going to remove the light bulb, and I'm just going to use these long nose pliers just so it's easier for me to take out. Okay, and you notice how it's positioned. There's that tail. Okay, that tail is pointing upwards. This is a perfectly good light bulb, so I'm just going to put it right back in as if we were changing it, and I'm going to remember the position. Well, wait a minute, let me see if I can show you the notch here. Okay, so let's get inside. Okay, there we are. Whoops. Okay, and way on top right there. Okay, when I say way on top right there, I am talking about, let's see if I can point to it. Okay, so this portion here, the outer, this round portion here, then it comes up on top here and it's flat. And then there's a notch right in here. That's where you're going to be installing that tail on the high beam side. So now, let's go back in and reinstall this guy here. Okay. And you'll know if you're right or not, because your two connector pins, this one and this one, so this one and this one, will be up and down. They're not going to be on the sides. Okay, so sorry again for moving, but there's very, very little space in here for me to film and do this here. So just make sure that it's in there properly. Now I'm going to go in there with my thumb and make sure that it's seated and it won't turn. And that is perfect. I cannot turn it. I know that it's seated. Now I'm going to grab this clip again. Okay, right there. I'm going to lift it up. Ooh, sorry about that. Like I said, very little room. I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to push it. And then this portion right here. Let me get that little tool again. That was perfect to show with that. So, right up here, okay, that's the clip that your spring is going to be sitting in. So, you notice here, I'm going to try to do that. See? Okay, that's what it's going to do. And then once it's in there, it's held. Now it's secure. Everything is in the right position. Nothing has moved. Okay, my two clips, my two connector clips, the bottom one and the lower and the upper one, the two connectors are one on top of the other. And now simply reinstall the connector. And now I can't see. So tell you what, I'll take these guys again. I'll line them up. And there we go. Okay. Whoop. There. Okay, so everything is back in. Everything. And now the last thing to do is put back your dust cap and water protector. Put that on there. Come back out, and you're done. So, remember, high beam, tail up. Low beam, tail down, tail low. So now all you got to do is just reconnect everything back together, and you are ready to go. Just don't touch the light bulb, and everything will be fine. And once you're done with this, you can do your test and see. But with that being done in this particular fashion, you will see that it is much easier to do, and your headlights will be pointing into the right direction.